ஃப்ரைடே நானே allocate பண்றேன். ரெண்டு வாட்டி சொன்னாரு, எனக்கு கரெக்டா புரியல.
Hi Naveen, you want to say something or Naveen?
No, Pawan.
Hmm.
You can
Okay.
carry on.
Yeah, because be in the call actually. Don't go here and there, right? Okay. So that is what, guys. Okay, so just to have a look on that, definitely you have to be very focused on in the sessions. But this is also one of these things we are considering, like completion of the certifications, trainings, okay, which are connected to your appraisals. Just have a look on that, right? So data frame joins. Before talking about that, I need to start the cluster now. 1 minute, guys. I usually start, but today due to this explanation, I forgot. Just let me start the cluster first. Cluster 3, 4. Okay. So now the objectives of the session. Let me give you that convention, guys. So which are all the major focus areas of the today's session, so that as per the analogy also, and maybe one or two things I'll be giving the presentations so that we can complete on Monday and Tuesday, the entire presentations, so that you can also have the circle. If any one or two things are missing, I'll give the presentations so that our people can prepare and present the same. Okay. By today, end of the day, definitely I'll share all the allocations, because tomorrow and today Kannan is ready with the presentation. So after the break, just I will ask Kannan to explain that. Remaining members, you can give on Thursday. Okay, so remaining all members, all 5 members will place on Thursday. Friday, I'm giving you some sort of project discussion. Na? You discuss with our team members and you finish the discussion. Those 3 hours you can use for the project discussion. Okay, you need not be on the call. So just you dedicate your timing to the project. Okay, right. So now the join operations, the objectives are like this, guys. Join operations, because joins we're having many things. In SQL also we're having the inner join, left join, right join. Those kind of the examples I'm going to talk, guys. Already I have compiled that because it is taking much time to type, but some of the aspects we should type and some can be explained, because now we are having the understanding of all the RDDs, all the data frames along with the operations and all, so that even if I'm explaining also, you can easily grasp that. Okay, that's what I compiled this already. We're going to see various types of the joins. Okay, these things we'll see. And coming to the other things, case study 1. This is related to, let me see that, guys. One is a bank prospect that we are talking, bank prospect, something like management of the columns or handling of the columns, etc. The second case study, the second one, 1 minute, guys. I have compiled for us. Second one, bank prospects or marketing. Another is data frame, Walmart data, Walmart stock data we are having. Observation of that stock data. Okay, correct. Walmart data processing. Okay, these two things. And then our adaptive query execution, AQE importance and usage. So these points we are going to talk, guys. Okay. First, let me introduce the join operations, which is pretty simple, as you know, all we're having the background of the databases. And your database, whatever the knowledge you acquire, all those kind of the considerations also helpful here. But there is a little difference if you consider Because you know, guys, just while talking about these data frame operations and all these kind of the conventions, so far we have seen some sort of operations, like how do I achieve the conventions and how do I manage the aspects. But now this particular example gives that how we are going to join the data frames, because data frames individually can perform a lot more. Like we have seen some cleaning of the data related to the yesterday's session, removing of the dollar symbol and conversion of the float, all these things. And moreover, Surendra asked one question: how do I do the decimal point handling? Maybe 2 decimal or 3 decimal. I said that okay, you try, okay, like that. What I'll do, guys, that also I scoped actually in the case study. First, you give a try based on the experience, whatever you have taken as a key takeaway of the corresponding training. So just you can follow up that convention. On top of that, you can leverage. Learning gives the understanding, guys, but if you are implementing, then only you will be getting the knowledge and consolidation. Okay, there is a differentiation. Okay, training is different, learning is different. Training, I'm just guiding you, I'm giving the ideas, all those kind of the conventions. There is a training. Learning, you know, just you need to connect all the dots. All those particular dots should be connected. Yeah, still that running, but no problem. So let us see how we are. Already I have executed, guys, these things. Just I am explaining to you so that to avoid the typing time and all. So just we are creating a list of all these things. Okay, employee ID, name, uh, superior employee ID, and year joined, employee department ID, gender and salary. And maybe some of the aspects are not there. If you consider the first thing, employee ID, name, and he is not having the superior ID. It might be he is the superior. Okay, and year joined, and employee department ID, gender, and as well as the salary. Maybe this is a outsourcing kind of thing or some part time. And definitely, otherwise it won't have work out now. Even in US also, $3,000, $4,000 are nothing. So this is the employee data. Along with that, we are having the employee columns data. Because you know, guys, in the typical data frame, we are having two options: reference of the data and as well as the reference of the schema information. So just after taking this particular thing, just we are creating the employee data frame. We are creating the data frame just by sending the data as EMP. And second thing, schema is employee columns, whatever we have collected, that is the schema orientation. Now, once you observe that schema, we are having the employee ID, name, superior employee ID, year joined, department ID, gender and salary. This is the schema related to the employee data frame. Again, we are rechecking that with the help of the print schema. So print schema is the first statement you have to use, guys, because generally data set would be there, and after loading up the data set into your data frame, just you need to inspect that data frame. Okay, that inspection involves many aspects like describe is there, and as well as understanding of the null values. All these considerations you can observe because that is a basic thing you need to observe. And one more thing, truncate equal to false means, guys, sometimes, you know, if I want to generate or if I want to use the longer strings also, generally the Spark display, okay, truncate that particular thing, only some portion of the data will be displayed. Whereas if I don't want to truncate the data, I want to maintain the entire records. I want to see the entire record. Just I can make use of the truncate. Okay, our show method, generally the data frame is associated with the show. Of course, you can use the take and collect all these things. Okay, let me ask you this question. How do you refer? Okay, so how can you refer this thing? Take versus collect versus show. So just you observe these three things there because these three are there where you can make use of the all these particular three options. Okay, now Another data frame, guys. First data frame is related to the employee data, employee ID, name, all these kind of the conventions. Second thing is we're having the department information, finance, and as well as the marketing, sales, and IT. Clearly, we are mentioning the schema also, department name, and as well as the department ID. Now, as usual, a typical statement where I am making use of the create data frame. So just we are mentioning the data and as well as the schema information. So just it is it has created department name and department ID. So far we are having the two data frames. One is the employee data frame. Second is the department data frame. Now here also we are seeing the data up to now. Already we know that these things, guys, like loading of the data and creation of the data frame and assigning the data frame with data and as well as the schema. These things are pretty common for us. Now, once that thing is over, just we are observing the records from the both employee and department data frame. And there is department ID is common actually here, guys. In the SQL perspective also, if I want to perform something, then definitely okay, you should follow up the tab action, like make sure that both the tables should contain the common column. Okay, so here also in the employee data, we're having the employee department ID, and department data, however, we're having the DEPT ID. Okay, there are some common columns and there are some distinct columns like that we're having. It's okay. So based on this convention only, we are going to perform some kind of the computings. Now we are introducing the inner join, friends. So I have given some comments here, like inner join is the default join. If you are not specifying also, it becomes the inner join in Pyspark, and it's mostly used. This join, okay, this particular kind of the join joins two data sets on key columns. Where keys don't match, the rows get dropped from both data sets. A very straightforward thing, guys. Like if it is working on the principle that if the keys are matching, then the appropriate records will be displayed. If that particular keys, okay, if the corresponding keys are not matched, then automatically see here, guys, where they are dropped from both data sets. Both data sets in the sense there is no matching in the sense DEPT may contain some data and employee may contain some data. In this example, 50 is there actually, because otherwise 10, 20, 40, all these things are there. And 50 is there from the employee data. And here 40 is there from the DEPT data. Now, if you are making use of convention, like we cannot see the 50 here, because as per the analogy, they are getting dropped, and 40 actually 40 is there in both, guys. Okay, so 10 is there, 20 is there, but 30 is not there. Let us see, 30 is also not there in the final table. So your 30 from the department data frame and 50 from the employee data frame getting dropped. Okay, because that is the usage. And now here, friends, observe that there are multiple options in the join. Okay, so as to give the clarification, what you are doing is up to this common. So whatever the condition I am applying, like DEPT DF, comma employee DF dot. Because just what we are joining is here, there is a trick actually. We are joining employee data frame with the DEPT data frame. That point we have to mention first. First, what we need to do is, unlike in case of the SQL, there is a difference. In terms of the SQL, directly we write the SQL statement and we apply the join along with the condition on top of the 2 or 3 tables, whichever we are having. But the issue here is, guys, just if you are making use of that employee and DEPT, you need to explicitly mention that which are all the two data frames you are joining. Of course, you have mentioned that. And apart from that convention, there is a condition. This is common, guys, actually. So employee department ID from the employee, department ID from the department data frame. So just we are checking the equality, and the important point here is guys, the join type here. So based on this particular join type only, because the other joins also we are going to talk, like see here, though the condition is same, but we are making use of the outer join. And here also, the condition is similar, we are using the full outer join. And then full and as well as the full outer, both are same, either you can use. Okay, similarly left and as well as the left outer, right and as well as the right outer. Like that, we're having all the entire implementation of this particular join is decided by your type of the join. So simply just giving that particular condition and leaving that won't give the expectation, guys. Maybe you are expecting something and you will be getting something if you are going by the default. And one more important thing is somewhere we have seen inner join is the default join. Okay, though I am not giving the inner join, automatically this particular condition returns this value only. Okay, so now you see, as we have seen already, so whatever the records mapped from DEPT and as well as the employee, so just those things. Outcome is same, guys, in the SQL and whatever the join options we have used, but only the point we need to remember is how to frame that, and how we are going to specify the particular type of the join so as to come up with your expectation. Okay, so just inner join we have used. Similarly, when we apply inner join on our data sets, it drops employee DEPT ID 50 from the employee and DEPT ID 30 from the department data set. And of course, the resultant is this one already we have observed. And next important thing is, guys, outer join actually. Outer join is also known as a full join or full outer join. Returns all rows from the both data sets. What I can say here is, guys, suppose we are having some kind of the observation of the members. No matter whether the members are on bench or whether they are on project, whether they are interns or whichever, maybe we want to get entire count. Okay, because some people are there in the project, some are there in the bench, but as a total, maybe some are working on external Uber. Like that, we are having the convention. Now, what should I do here is just we are making use of the convention, uh, like so just I want to pick up the appropriate information. Okay, so the complete data related to the tables, as I said, maybe project table, bench table, all these things. Now here also, this sometimes there may be a possibility of collecting every record. Okay, collecting every record. Now you see here, just we are applying this statement, the entire statement is common, guys. There is no differentiation. That's what I took this particular example so that you can easily grasp. Though the people are definitely, I know all people are from SQL background, but still, if you are not having the background of SQL, it's okay. Just to see that how we are scoping the join operation among this employee and DEPT, and just we are making use of that equality. And then just I'm mentioning the outer. So the outer join generally come up with the analogy where join expression doesn't match, it returns null on the respective record columns. Because guys, in this department, we're having the 30th department ID, but we don't have any corresponding department in the employee. Maybe this is the independent department and we are soon establishing and we have not yet recruited the members. Okay, assume that some new project is coming in deep learning, and deep learning department we have established deep learning and neural networks, NLP, all these things. And this particular department is different from the data science machine learning department. Okay, deep learning majority of the times we focus on the image processing and as well as the heavy data, all these things, right? CNN, RNN kind of thing. So though 30th department we have established but the data is not there actually. So in that case, if you consider the department, ID. So 30th. Now you see there is nothing in the employee data. Okay, but still what it is doing is 30th department ID is not there, but it is pasting all the null values. If it's a general principle. If the corresponding values are not there in the data frame, obviously it is going to put the null values. And on the other way, so just if I am having the 50th department in the employee and department ID is not reflected. This is a wrong condition, friends, actually, because department, if I am considering as a parent table, definitely without establishing the department, we cannot recruit the people. Na? Maybe these are all the rare cases. Just to observe that logically this may correct, but without establishing a department, we may not recruit the people. Okay, because logically also if you see 50th employee and the corresponding data is not there, just it has pushed into the null. But in a practical orientation without department ID, we are not going to recruit any member because the HR people should map that guy into temporary department at least. Okay, so but the analogy here is in either of the data frames, if they are independent, like that I can say, if they are independent, then in that case, there is a merger. Assume that there is a merger. We are having multiple companies, or else we are reached to 3 or 3,500 members. So we want to split that. So in those kind of the conditions, maybe these things are going to happen. Okay, right. Other than this thing, guys, outer, we are having the full outer also. You pretty know that what exactly the full outer join. So there are certain representations where all the records from all the tables reflect in the outcome. So just it is matching and as well as the non-matching records from both the tables. So that is analogy related to the full outer. Here also just we are taking the source data frames and based on that particular data frame, we are collecting the data and getting the information in as a full-fledged. Among that one, there is other option called full outer, whereas pretty much similar. Okay, just whatever. So we are either you can use the outer, full or full outer. Okay, don't get confused in the certification also. They're asking like this, outer, full or full outer. Okay, the fourth option might be all the above. Okay, so full outer, full and as well as the outer are the three parallel options where you can apply for the outer join. One more thing, guys, here from our this is the explanation. So just you see that how this particular outer join and all works. And left or left outer. Okay, either I can use the left or left outer. And this particular left outer join all rows from the left data set regardless of match found on the right data set. Left outer. Okay, when join expression doesn't match, automatically it assign the null values, guys. Now what we're doing is same principle, but this time I'm using the left outer join. Now which one got missed, guys? Actually this 50th it has taken because it is from the employee data. Employee records fully we are getting, but 30 got missed out. If you see 30 is exclusively for the department. So the left outer makes sure that whatever the employee data frame I am having fully reflected all your data items 10, 20, 40, 50 like that. But the department data frame 30th record is not there. Okay, that is what left outer join returns all rows from the left data set regardless of match found. If match is not found, simply it is putting the null values. That's all. Okay, along with that left, I can substitute that as a left outer also. Left outer, left, both are same. Now there is a clause called right, exactly the other way around. Like rather than employee full details, we are getting the department full details. The same condition representation. Just I can make use of the right or right outer. But this time we won't get 50 because only matching records from the employee data and all records in the department data. We pretty know that we are only having one record, which is a non-matching record. Okay, to the employee from the department table. So that 30th record only appeared 50th record is not there because that is no matching. That too we are using a right outer join. So obviously it comes to this particular way. And right or a right outer. So this is the way how we are making use of the convention. And some other options are also there, guys. Apart from this particular thing, I will be giving you some kind of the joins as a presentation. Semi join is there, self join kind of thing. More or less the extension of the study what we have seen. So this is how you can refer the join conditions. And this is pretty useful because however, if you are using the Spark SQL or if you are using data frames only, but majority of the times we are making use of that SQL kind of the syntax. So related to this particular point, now you would have observed. So more either that Spark SQL explicitly used or else you are not using. On top of this data frame, generally we apply SQL kind of the orientation, guys. Okay, many kind of the considerations and all these aspects. Okay, whatever. So generally we scope that usage of the SQL in all the ways. Okay, so that's what the reason. Just we'll use the spark.sql.functions, spark.sql.types. Likewise, every reference is there related to those kind of the considerations. So this is how you make use of the convention related to the join operations. Okay, so not heavy data, guys. Just we are making use of that advantage of joins with multiple flavors. Now, the first case study I want to explain to you is bank marketing. As I said, bank prospects data. And the second one I want to give is some sort of Walmart example. This is pretty pre-processing of the data. How I find out that mean, median. Okay, first we'll see this thing because this thing is very much similar to our earlier example. Okay, just the decimal values, how to handle all those kind of the conventions. It is more or less the pre-processing of the data. But the second example, the bank prospects, where this particular project, this particular case study gives that um, unknown value handling, casting, typecasting, and as well as average values of the pushing of the age and salary into the average value. Okay, and calculating mean salary, replace missing values. Okay, so what I mean to say here, guys, so these things more or less just we have taken the considerations like already we have seen, but only the difference is a typical related to a typical case study, how we are applying these kind of the things. Okay, that is only the representation. Okay, now let us go with the first option. Here we are using the Walmart data. Actually, this particular Walmart data we are having. So just we are loading this Walmart 1.csv. So just if you consider this data within the DBFS file store tables, just we are having the Walmart data. Okay, so Walmart data we are having. So this particular data we want to load into our data frame. Now, just to observe here, a little bit introduction I have given. So just it is a, you will be asked some basic questions about some stock market. In this case, Walmart stock, because this thing why I scoped today is, guys, maybe how you convert the normal application. So far, we started with some sort of the concept and we studied like, this particular topic related to understanding of. Okay, so whatever the functionality we have seen, maybe joins option, RDD or data frame, accumulator. Only to the topic, just we have given some example. But whereas if I am having a data set in my hand, how do I convert? Okay, how do I convert that data set into a data frame and how I can able to apply some meaningful transformations. Okay, because understanding of the topic is different. After having your topics in your hand, how we are going to apply the topics. That is what these two case studies definitely help you guys. There is a slight differentiation. We are having a topic in our mind. According to that, we are giving the demonstration. That is the first thing. We have completed those things, guys. Understanding and processing all those things we have completed. Now we need to observe that how we are converting a data set and as well as the data frame according to our requirement. We are now not practicing actually. We are now applying. We are applying the thought process. Okay, this is the requirement. How do I use the appropriate requirement so as to complete the task? Okay, now one important thing is like directly I can use the Spark or Spark context. But what we're doing here is this statement is also pretty common. Okay, where if you are not using the data bricks, of course, Databricks, the default supporter is the Spark and cluster is also no matter whether I'm using the community cluster or whatever, but it is directly supporting Spark and SC. But whereas in other tools like maybe AWS or GCP or Cloudera, Hortonworks, in those kind of the clusters, you need to explicitly guide the cluster. Hey, I'm using the Pyspark.sql and I'm importing the Spark session. Within that Spark session, I'm having the builder app name, get or create, and the entire reference where point back to the Spark. Okay, like these kind of the conventions we are making use. Now, just let us make use of this particular Walmart data. Just a data frame spark.read.csv. As I said, either you can start from the dbfs colon file store tables Walmart CSV like that, or else okay directly just to copy and paste. So whatever the things I'm having, just I'm right click. Okay, just you can see here I am getting this thing, and here if you copy, so let me show you this convention base. Okay, so that you can get, yeah, this directly gives us, you need not type or something. Just go back and paste the same. So pick up the corresponding file and after this particular panel, just it is giving the path. So pick up that particular path and move ahead. And then once this data is loaded and of course options are there, guys. Like two options are there in the earlier examples also. You can use the format also spark.read.format of CSV load and you are giving the CSV. Within that I have mentioned the header equal to true. Maybe I'm having the header information. Generally, every Excel or CSV kind of thing start with the header data. And if you want to preserve that first line as header, inform that header equal to true. Infer schema, which is pretty important point, guys, because you are not sure if you are creating the schema. Uh, Friends, how do I create the schema? In what way I can create the schema? Create schema. Okay, which are all the
Struct
constructs, struct type and as well as the struct
struct
field.
field,
Yeah,
input,
all those kind of the considerations, struct field, struct type, and in integer type, float type, string type, because you know, friends, all the times we may not get the proper observation of schema because data comes in all the shapes. Actually, I can say machine learning engineer, data science, not data scientist, machine learning engineer task is bit straightforward and bit clarify. We are having clarity, guys, because you know the data engineers aspect. However, I am covering the big data Hadoop ecosystem also in a while. Like I need to give a glance of HDFS and MapReduce. Uh, but if you consider, guys, this person should have the knowledge on big data side because they are dealing with all the loading process and pre-processing. So they are the ones who need to sweat more, guys, compared with machine learning engineers, because machine learning engineers, if you are having 15 or 20 algorithms in your hand, your work is auto ML kind of thing. But after receiving a new data set, then struggle start for the data engineer. Of course, definitely it is a challenge. You can enjoy the challenges, but just I'm saying, okay, like so whatever the data we are having, that particular data may not be in always in a proper shape and all these things. Okay, so definitely you have to sit and study with your team. Of course, always team is there, no? So just you can discuss and come up with some analogy, and that's what. So in that particular case, infer schema is nothing but whatever the default schema, whatever the schema supported by that um, data set, I'm uploading that. So here you see date, open, high balance, low, close, volume, and adjustive close. Okay, so and the columns information explicitly I can get the columns information, and it is always a good practice to have a print schema also, because it generally gives the type of the data, and if any string type of the data is there, and maybe you can convert that into the required integer, float, or whichever the consideration. Okay, now print out the first column, first 5 columns. We know that, and always, guys, one more important thing is it is always, it's not required to project your programming challenge. Like, rather I can directly use the head. Okay, so just it is giving that. Otherwise, programmatically, just I'm using the for loop. Maybe the typical Python programmer deputed to Pyspark, then he won't sit. Na? Definitely he has to use his. I mean, it's a general habit for the Python programmers. Generally they go by code only rather than the customizations or optimizations. But we are the people like data engineers and machine learning engineers and data scientists. We generally love to use the optimizations, or we straight away import the corresponding package, and we are going to reflect that package in our thing. But however, it is just I specified, you can use the head directly, or else you can implement the same with the help of the looping also. So that is how you can perform the activity. Now you can observe this point, guys, because if I am making use of my data frame with the show method, it is giving a typical frame actually. So the data frame appearance is different. But at the moment I am taking these individual records and all, you observe this point, guys, actually row and all the kind of the consideration, just the low level considerations. Now you can easily believe that your data frame is built on top of the RDD actual. So whatever the RDD you are talking about, just we are making use of that convention of building your data frame on top of the RDD. So RDD, however, a combination of the rows. So row is a specific object actually. And if you remember, friends, in the data frame creation also, along with the RDD, we have used our row also. And maybe I can use the pandas data frame like that. There are certain possibilities. So whenever the new topics are piling up, just to recollect the old ones also, guys, that is also important point. Okay. Apart from this convention, just we are describing the data frame, which is really helpful to us, guys. In terms of NumPy and pandas, the Python programmer generally habituate to use the describe and info methods. Here also, these describe and info methods are tailor-made actually, so as to verify the statistical aspects like count, mean, standard deviation, minimum and maximum, and on top of the corresponding records actually. Okay, so total how many records I'm having. Okay, in those things here itself, I can say whether I'm having any null values or all those kind of the considerations. Now coming to our Surender's doubt. Yesterday he asked like, there are too many decimal places for mean and standard deviation. For the format the numbers to 2 decimal places. Okay, so now just I'm having all these summary data, and if you consider the mean and standard deviation, see here many are there, many decimal places, which is such a long kind of thing. Definitely we are not interested to do that. In our earlier example of understanding that thing, just what we have done, guys, sub str of 2 comma 100 we have given. There 100 means according to the developer mindset, 100 means all the decimal points. I'm not truncating anything, guys. That second value is nothing but to skip the dollar symbol actually. Dollar pointing to the first index and second index onwards, we are picking up that data. So now, yeah, here coming to our friend's doubt, format number is one module, guys. We're having, we can import that from Pyspark.sql.functions, import format number. And if you consider the with column here, I have not used any with column directly. What I'm doing here is just I want to make use of the convention of the select statement. Select is also having some possibilities, like where I want to perform some static computings rather than the dynamic computing. Dynamic computing, nothing but computing the monthly salary after getting the annual salary, or else in the yesterday's session we have seen the case study of male and female budgeting and gender along with the city, like so many queries we have seen. Apart from that convention, suppose if I want to get my data as a pre-processing, may not be dynamic always. It's a kind of the data I'm having, and on top of that particular data, I want to perform some kind of a numerical adjustment. Maybe I don't want to come up with all these decimal values, or if you consider so far. So for that particular purpose, what we are doing is, guys, just to see here, I want to get the summary of the result. Okay, because this is the one we are talking about actually, summary as it is. And then format number is the option where I can give the appropriate arguments are whatever the column name I am having is the opening balance. And this opening balance here it is string, but really it is a number, guys. Actually, it is a number. What we can do, guys, the already cast is a function we have seen conversion of the string into the float value, and directly I can mention that format number, this particular result up to this. Okay. And as a second argument, I'm giving the number of decimals I want. Okay. So the decimal position. Now you see, guys, it is not abnormally giving the full length. After this thing, 2 zeros, 3677, like that. Of course, individually we are performing. First, we are taking for the opening balance, then for the high, low, close, etc., and then volume. So every time what we are doing is just we are converting this particular data into the string float type, and we are insisting I don't want to pick up the entire decimal part, just like it is enough to give the 2 decimals. That's all. And how do I change this? I don't want to give any new name, just I'm giving as it is. It is also, friends, here if you are not giving the alias, what happens is the entire thing, the entire computing will reflect in the, it won't look nice. Okay, the entire computing, whatever you are writing here, it is reflecting here. So definitely whether you give the same name or different name, that is up to you. But usage of the alias is highly preferable here, because look and feel must be there. Na? Okay, after the generation of the result, though the result is super correct, but again, as we are habituated to publish our results to the team or whoever other stakeholders, it is always a best practice to nicely curate the thing. Even the some of the members, for some of the members, I suggested to format the presentations correctly. A simple point, guys, like, it shows that, okay, though you are correct and though you are knowledgeable, but those minute things will create some impression, guys, actually, so that in the presentations, in the documentation, okay, throughout that same, follow the same formatting, so that it reflects your planning and your keen observation on minute aspects. Okay, so you have to tie the loose ends. Maybe in the corresponding meetings also, maybe many questions would be there, but one member will come suddenly and he can ask the question so that the appropriate members can give the clarification. So the entire members will get the clarity. So similarly, guys, here also, just don't leave that loose ends. obviously just to format the things and accordingly, so that along with your skill, this managerial aspects also most important. How we are giving the outcomes and how we are projecting the things to the audience, that is also important. Now in the high, the same logic, just we are sending the format number and the appropriate result should be like this: high, and typecasting from string to float, 2 decimal point, and high. So similarly for all those kind of the conventions, and volume, actually volume I don't want to fix as a, if you consider the volume, this is also string actually, and these values if you consider, these are also decimals are there, but I don't want to fix that volume as a numeric float kind of thing. So it is always possible to convert that thing into the integer, and you are giving that alias name as volume. So as a reflection, if you consider open, okay, just it is floating of 2 decimals, high value floating of 2 decimals, and low, it is also 2 decimals. And then we are having closing balance, 2 decimals. And finally, all these open, high, low, and close, these are all nothing but floating types, guys. Whereas volume, we don't want to fix that volume as a float. Just we are giving that integer type. Just you can observe that point, guys. Integer way of doing the things. Okay, so this is how, because this is the most frequently used kind of the construct where to handle the, because the general consideration, because our data curators, maybe data engineers would have collected the data and processed data, and they feel that okay, this data is good, but if it reaches to the machine learning engineer, he has to apply some algorithms and he has to come up with some kind of the summary and description. So in that particular case, it's mandatory to make sure that the appropriate data is suitable to the algorithm. Okay, because all data may not be suitable to the algorithms. We have to perform some normalization, standardization, all those kind of the conventions. Now, now we are creating a new data frame with a column called HV ratio. Okay, that is a ratio of the high price values. Okay, high price versus the volume of the stock traded for a day, because this is something like a stock market, guys. Even I am not having idea about that stock market, but programmatically what you have to do, because this particular thing, HV ratio we are not knowing, but here the explanation is this is nothing but a ratio of the high price versus volume. Now see here, simply if I am getting that particular formula, so what you can do, just I am making use of the column as HV ratio. Okay, our favorite with column. And then we are computing the high versus the volume. Okay, whatever the functionality I'm having. So that which is giving the HV ratio value. So that is what, friends, though you are not having the domain knowledge, but still with the formulas, that is what the reason why a little statistics are required for the data engineering and data science positions. Because without knowing mean, without knowing standard deviation, okay, it is not possible to apply or get the things in a best path or best way. So if you are knowing that statistical background, even in the algorithms also, guys, if you consider decision trees, random forest, all these support vector machine, naive bayes, k-nearest neighborhood, all these things are having their own computings. So just with the follow up of that computing, if you are able to, if you are connecting the dots between that particular thing related to this algorithm, okay, then your task will be easier. Otherwise, you don't know what is the information gain, what do you mean by entropy, you don't know, and what is a conditional probability and log sorts ratio in the logistic regression. If without knowing all these things, though you are a good programmer or good data scientist, but still these points are pretty important, guys, at least for the understanding of the ask by the client. And if you want to explain the appropriate outcomes in a profound way, so maybe you are getting the accuracy something, and how that accuracy is significant. Okay, all these kind of the things are most important aspect, guys. Okay, so just you can make use of that particular part, and accordingly just to follow up. Now the HV ratio we are having, just we are creating data frame 2 with column. Generally friends, you can use for the creation of the new column, or else for the renaming of the existing column, or you want to compute some columns. Okay, just by adding that particular column. Now we are doing that only. This is a computing column actually. So high by volume, and we are storing that information into the HV ratio. Now, can you differentiate with column and with column renamed, guys? Can I use with column renamed here? Just I'm asking, can I use this particular thing? Okay, so just I'm pasting here. Okay, can I use with column renamed instead of with column? So just give your thoughts. I have asked take versus collect versus show and create schema. This all already we have seen, and this question. Okay, these two questions just to give your thoughts, guys. Okay, I'll come back on that. Now, if you refer the with column, just what we are doing is there is a computing in the second component. The computing will be posted to the original, the newly created column. So just what we are doing is just we are collecting only the select. Okay, that HV ratio, whatever the value we are having, only this particular value we are getting. Okay, so your DF2, however, is giving the all the conventions along with the new column. But I want to select only one particular column information that I can do, however. Okay, and now what day had the peak high in price? See here, guys. What day had the peak high? Now, don't need to really do this much indexing, could have just shown the entire row. Only the thing is, guys, just we are having, if you consider the high value, okay, and if you go back and see the appropriate convention, whatever the values I'm having, there is a date actually. There is a date time kind of thing, date actually. Corresponding to this date, we are having the opening, high, low, all these kind of the conventions. Now, what they have asked is just to compare. Okay, all these particular days, maybe 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 9th, like that. On which day we got the highest value? Maybe 3rd we got 61, 4th we got 60, sorry, 60, 61, 60, 59, 59, 59. At least in this particular 5 rows, we are having the higher value as 3rd. Okay, that particular day, whatever the day. So now for that particular purpose, guys, so what we need to apply? Just I'm having the high. Here the point, guys, here. So just what we are doing is order by is a clause, na? Order by descending. Automatically we'll be getting the head as a top because I'm applying on top of the high. So 61, 60, 59, 58, 57, like that the rows will be getting. And we are arranging those things in the descending order. Descending order. Top at first. Head one automatically contains the. Okay, what it contains, friends? First record. However, the first record recorded the high sales, and what we need to get actually what day means 00 if I am getting. Okay, within that particular record, 0th and as well as the 0th index. Okay, so just within the first record, first column, within that particular column, first index. Okay, 0th comma 0th. So obviously what we'll get, guys, so high, just we are getting the date, the entire date we are getting. Apart from that, in this particular day, okay, because 01 if I am giving, it goes to the second column. 02 if I am giving, it is goes to the third column. So but I want the date column only, because however if you consider the date, it is appearing as the first index. Okay, if you consider this particular date, within that particular date I am getting this convention. So obviously which date it has registered the high sales, 2015. Okay, in that particular January 13th we got the higher sales. Okay, and what is the mean of the close column? This is a normal thing where on top of that particular close, I want to apply the mean. Maybe you can take this aggregate function, guys, like within the select. Okay, so select also very powerful, and we can consider this always as a narrow transformation. Do you agree, guys? If I'm saying select as a narrow transformation, how can I say that? Because joins and all I cannot say. But if I'm talking about the considerations, okay, they're all the wide transformations, sorting and all, because shuffling is there. Select, friends, always it maps the data. It won't shuffle anything, guys. It maps the data. Now, if you observe the aggregate function, so as to perform that function, I'm having the generally we habituated to use import SQL function, something like that in the earlier case study. Now, as I clearly know that I want to get only mean value. I'm not interested to find out the minimum, maximum, count, summation, whichever. I am confined to getting my mean value only. So that from Pyspark.SQL function, SQL.functions importing of the mean, just we are applying on top of the data frame, select whatever the mean value. Okay, on top of the close, because this close is a field which is available from our Walmart data, and we are getting the things done. So the average sales are this in dollars. Okay, now what is the min and maximum? Okay, now rather than again using this convention, you could have used this import SQL functions, then you can apply. But here we are very specific to maximum and minimum. What we are doing, okay, from Pyspark.SQL.functions import max comma min. Now multiple functionalities I can apply, guys, because how we are using in the select statement, df.select of max of volume comma min of volume. Now I am asking one question, guys. Can I say this these two statements comes under the category of the Spark SQL, or they are only Spark DF based? Can I say this thing, whatever I'm posting in the chart? Just let me, oh, very good, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. Is this Spark SQL or Spark? Just to think through, so that I can also get some happiness, guys, if you say the answer. So here we are getting the maximum of value and as well as the minimum of value. And now see here, one more option. How many days was the close lower than $60? These kind of the questions generally we need to work out, guys. But believe me, these things are not difficult actually. How many days? Okay, it is a number actually. On what days he has not asked. How many days? Maybe I need to count that. Closer lower than $60. I have to apply the filter. You know, so df.filter close less than 60 dot count. That means how many number of times that close value is less than 60. Those many times I want to increment the counter. So automatically if close is 59, 58, 53, automatically your count becomes 3. If it is 5 times less than 60, your count becomes 5. Okay, here days means you need not go and brainstorm on how to split the date. No, maybe friend, just you can focus on the condition area, and this particular condition area you can like make use of df dot filter close less than 60 count. And one more thing, guys, here there are multiple options to pick up the columns from the data frame. Actually, that is also one of the important point. In all our earlier sessions, if you remember, we have used this thing actually df dot. Okay, only we followed that particular convention. But now in the current example, what we are using is within the condition, just we are directly mentioning the column information. And maybe I can perform either I can directly give the column and within the double quotes as an expression, I can compute. That is one possibility. Whereas the other possibility is I can make use of the filter, whatever the condition I'm having as it is, rather than using df dot close or something, I can go ahead with df of close. If you recollect from the pandas data frame guys, generally we use either df dot or df of open, close, low, volume like that. So that possibility is also there. In three ways you can compute guys. One is dot, another is with the double quotes with the expression. Third thing is, and most commonly used kind of the thing is df of close. And whichever you feel comfort, maybe some people purely object oriented guys, maybe having the Java background, they can use df dot close, something like that. Whereas if you are okay to follow up the convention of a typical Python based like df of close, these kind of the considerations, either of the way is okay, friend. There is no differentiation between those kind of the conventions, but there is a small distinction here. If I'm using the expression, okay, it took some 1.05 seconds. As I said, na, as a typical mindset of the data engineer and machine learning engineer is, as we are given to work on top of the cluster. Of course, this is a community cluster, and of course, we are using this particular cluster without any problem. Okay, but in the production environment, guys, we cannot use this community cluster. There, our company provides us some sort of um, whatever the functionalities we're having. So is a pre-configured cluster, pre-installed softwares and all. And moreover, at the time you submit your job, then automatically your meter start getting hit. That means you need to consider the space and as well as the time requirement. How much time you are using your cluster, we have to pay in dollars actually. So of course, the cloud members or cloud DevOps members are knowing this. These are all conventions. But as a typical programmer, we always see to crisp our programming. But it's not like, guys, where if you are considering the aspects of the close and all these kind of things, though it is looking simple, but it has taken 1.5 seconds. Whereas the same appearance, though it is little lengthy, okay, the statement is little lengthy, but it took only 0.47 seconds, friend. Don't go by length of the, of course, in both the things, only one extension is there. Df dot filter is common. In the first statement, we have used close less than 60, but in the second statement, we have used df of close less than 60. Now, this particular close less than 60, for this Spark has to go back to the schema and put, and get the data, and every time it has to go and pick up that thing. But in the data frame, as already data frame we are getting, okay, obviously in memory kind of the computing is taking place, so that it took only 0.47 seconds. That's what I'm saying, guys. Just to observe whatever the functionality, whatever the options you are doing alternatively. That's what in the earlier example also we have seen outer, full outer, like that. All the three options you observe, which one has taken the less time. Okay, so more or less whatever I'm teaching, maybe you can get everywhere, and of course that is fine. But what is your value addition is what exactly the time factor and what exactly the internal mechanism, how you are coping up with the internal understanding of your time and as well as the space requirement. And it is mandatory, guys, for every data engineer and data scientist to think through in terms of the cloud-based aspects, because we are incurring some, we are charging, we were charged for that. So definitely you have to keep those points also in mind. Okay. Now, apart from those kind of conventions, guys, other approaches are also there. So the first approach took 1.5 seconds, 0.5 seconds, and second approach took 0.47. Third approach is also there, where I'm getting the import of the count and result, okay, df dot filter of close, and now we are selecting that. But in this second example, guys, directly we can able to get the answer also. We can able to get the answer also. But whereas it is always a good practice, Okay, rather than on the fly, publishing the results may not be good sign or good practice, guys. Always it is better to store that particular value somewhere and you can make use of that value for the future reference. Maybe I want to reuse something. I want to reutilize the appropriate constructs so that I can make use of these kind of the conventions. Okay, so it is same like just we have imported the count value and then what we are doing is here just I am making use of result df dot filter of df of close less than 60 and on top of this result however I am having the less than 60 result set and here we are again selecting the count of close. Here count acts as a function and to that particular count we are sending close as the argument. There is a little different here. Directly we are having the count in our data frame as a supportive method. So directly we are using. So that is what, guys, always see that if any predefined functionality is there or if any predefined construct is there, you can directly go ahead with that because your predefined construct without any import, you can able to perform the activity with the less amount of the time. Whereas in terms of this uh, I mean import or something user defined, definitely it incurs more timing. So that is what how you can see the execution. That's what I scoped all these three different things. So you can easily observe that the time factors required for implementing all these same case with the multiple options. Okay, so why you can ask this question. How can I select out of these multiple options the best thing? Of course, the answer is this one. Whichever whichever the implementation took less time, undoubtedly just go before go with that option only. Okay, that is one thing. And coming to the other options, guys. So just we are moving ahead. What percentage of the time was the high greater than $80? Earlier, we directly asked with how many days less than 16 has been recorded. But now the percentage we are seeing, guys. Percentage, of course, number of days high greater than 80 by total days. Suppose I am conducting some 15-day sessions. Assume that. So 15 sessions, 15 into 3.5 hours or 4 hours like that. So assume that 15 into 3 RLs, 45 hours. And how much percentage Surender attended the sessions? Or our Akhil attended the sessions or Shanmuga attended the session. So just maybe they would have attended out of 45, 42 sessions, only one class missed, maybe 96 or around that. So this is nothing but the total days and the number of days which are greater than 80. Okay, so simple. Just we are taking the filter condition df of I. First we have to compute that along with the count because we need the number. We need the number and we are multiplying with that 1. Okay, because percentage I need by df dot count into 100. So $80. Okay, high value greater than $80, 9.1 percentage, around 9.2 percentage, just that particular high value greater than $80 out of the days. Okay, how many days he asked now? So that percentage we are getting. Okay, so 9.14 or 9.2, around 9.2 percentage times. Okay, the time was high greater than the $80. So just these kind of the questions are pretty common, guys. Okay, so just why we are talking about these things is just though the question looks some odd, just to think through. Okay, just to observe that how do I compute this? Here you need to take the help of the statisticians or SMEs because they may not know what is the filter, what is the count or all these things, but they pretty give the expression. That is enough for us. The expression is important, no? The function is important. Okay, if he is saying the formula, then I can convert that formula into the appropriate convention. Okay, so the point here is statisticians not absolutely knowing the implementation, and data engineer and data scientist may not have the convention. Of course, basics we know, but beyond these kind of things we don't know. the hypothesis testing, which is very, very important. And by the way, guys, after your presentations, 1 or 2 days, we'll conduct the machine learning closing also, so that just we'll talk about all these conventions and some of the questions, because machine learning aspirants are also there in the call. So before closing of this particular training, probably next week, after Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I will take that machine learning concepts, so that we can you can prepare for the ML certification also, guys. Okay, so predominantly just we'll see the questions asked in the earlier exams. I am collecting all those things. Okay, once that is over, just in the sessions itself we can discuss. Okay, now this is purely statistical measure, guys. Okay, Pearson correlation. Okay, directly I'm having the correlation measure, and I can able to apply the appropriate correlation and high comma volume. So just you can make use of that convention. So maybe it is having some value. If it is giving minus 0.3, definitely we have to see what is the significance of that. So here the statistical members help is definitely required, whether there should be 1 or less than 0. If it is there, then what is the significance? All these kind of the conventions. And finally, what is the max high per year? Okay, in a year, maybe 2015 or 2014 or 2013, if I'm considering, what is the maximum of high value? Maximum of high value. Now we cannot achieve this thing in a singular step, guys. Okay, rather what we are doing is there is a function called actually from Pyspark. So just I'm making use of the SQL dot function. There is a function, there is a module called year. What we are doing is picking up of the year from the date. See guys, how simple it is. Otherwise you can split that with the help of the split. Again, I need to capture that particular year into the other variable. But thanks to our Pyspark, just we are having import year, import month, import date. All the things we are having. So from the year, from the date column, whatever I'm having, I want to pick only year, and I want to store that as the year. Okay, just I'm creating a new column here, and we are picking up that particular year, and we are posting that here, because this with column is which is helping us to get the contents, maybe processed columns or calculated columns, or maybe renaming of the columns, all are possible. Okay, now once we get this year df, I'm having the year. Now what I need to do here, guys, with this particular year is giving 2011, 2012, 13, 14, 15, all the years I got. Now my interest is out of those years, out of those years, I want to get the maximum value. Okay, so just I want to group by the year. Okay, whatever the year df I am having, and my maximum value I am storing here. And then, okay, within this max df, select year comma maximum of high. Okay, this particular year, okay, 2015, 13, 14, I am printing the year value. Okay, and on top of that, what I am doing here is, guys, I am getting the maximum recorded in that particular year. Now you see the outcome. If I am seeing the 2015, 90 is the maximum high. 2013, 81 is the maximum high. 2014, 88. 2012, 77. 16, 75. Okay, so there is a, of course, gradual increase except in 2014 and this year. Okay, because 77 after that 88 it reached, but next year is a failure actually. Less only we got, and then 15 does good. Okay, like this, there is a chain of process where I can pick up the year, come up with some kind of the group by, and on top of that group by, I can able to perform the finding out of each year how much, the best score has been registered. Okay, now this is the question, guys. What is the average close for each calendar month? Calendar month, January, February, March, like that month, not the date or year. Year we have seen already. Now, so in other words, across all the years, what is the average close price for Jan, Feb, March? Your result will have a value for each of these months. every month should register some value. Now, as said earlier, guys, we are having the year. Now we are having the month. Okay, from Pyspark.sql.functions import month. Now month data frame. What we are doing with column month, we are picking up the month from the date. That means 2013, 1, 13, 1 we are picking, the January we are picking, and 2013, 2, hyphen 15, that 2 February we are picking up. Now months average, once we are getting all these Jan, Feb, March like that, what we are doing is month value, closing value, because just we are picking up that close value, group by month. Then obviously guys, how many times the January repeated, those many group bys will be there. Jan, Feb, March, April, like that. Though we are having many years, each year is having the repeated, suppose 3 years if I am considering, 3 Januaries would be there, 3 Februaries, like that I am having the group by option. On top of that, okay, our requirement is to find out the average closer. Now what we got is just we got this month information, and along with that particular month, the mean value I found, but I want to pick up the average kind of thing. So what I can do is this mean value, okay, across that order by month. Apart from that particular mean value, just select month, average of close also I'm having from this, and order by month. Obviously, every month 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 12 we are getting all the months, all the January average closes, all the February. Now for the stock market investors, it is better to invest on 7th month, and because something like that, guys, because these kind of things helps the actual domain experts, or maybe if the domain experts suggest something to the investors. And as a developer, as a machine learning engineer, we may not need to understand the every number, but at least we need to see the significance, guys, because outcome, these numbers are okay, average, maximum, minimum, these things will be taken care by the domain experts. But you should talk about the precision, recall, and the true positive, true negative, sensitivity. These points are most important, because if you are unable to explain those particular things to the functional users, how can they decide the significance? Because these are all the direct values. So these values can be understood by the domain experts, or else the developers, everybody. But whereas sometimes it is your responsibility to highlight the metrics already we have seen, like in terms of the machine learning classification and as well as the regression. Already I have shown that some sort of information related to your regression, maybe R square, adjusted R square, RMSE, RSE, like that. In terms of the classification, AUC, ROC curve, confusion matrix, true positive, true negative, false positive, false negative, accuracy, precision, recall, F1 score, like that we are having. And observe, guys, these things should be explained by you only. Okay, that accuracy, precision, and all. But sometimes, there is a hypothesis testing, p-value, Pearson correlation. Those things should be explained by the statisticians only. And we have to discuss with the statisticians, and those particular members really gives us the understanding of how we are making use of the convention of getting the things. Okay, suppose if Pearson correlation is this value, and what is the significance, whether there is any correlation or not. Suppose that if hypothesis my p-value is less than 0.05, then what is the outcome, what is the significance value? Like this, there is a interchange of thoughts. That's what I always say, that this is a heterogeneous kind of work. Don't feel that I need to drive, or I need to take care about everything. No, plenty of people would be there, maybe SMEs would be there, statisticians, domain experts, and then data engineers, big data developers, Python programmers, machine learning developers, data scientists, data analysts. Like that is a complete India, guys, actually, I can say. Okay, because the entire members would be there in the team, and lot more discussion should happen before applying the thoughts, or before turning those aspects into the coding. This is how you can see the aspects related to conversion of a particular problem into the project or a case study. And we have done all the things earlier, guys, except that month, date. Now we are seeing that, oh, these many things are there. I need not even bother about the coding because customizations are there, guys. Only the thing is you need to pick up that customizations in such a way that those things really helps you to handle the convention, right? Okay. So this is what, how you feel, how you observe the orientation of picking up of these average, all these closure, high, low, all these conventions. Okay. Now we are logically taking a break here. Okay. I want to explain you the adaptive query execution. Because one more important thing, guys, here. Suppose maybe by this time you have this doubt. Uh, there is a Databricks kind of thing which is explaining some sort of adaptive querying and all these kind of the conventions. This is the Databricks orientation. Okay. Whereas I'm having the Spark thing also. Apache Spark also I'm having the blog. I'm having the, I mean, the explanation or documentation. Many a times, guys, people are in dilemma. Should I go with the documentation of the Apache or else I should stick on to the Databricks? Friends, here all the research, all the books are revolving around the Databricks. Maybe if I can show you like really I'm having the account actually. 1 minute, guys. Let me open that because Orially is one of the best platform where just a minute, guys. Just a minute. Just I'm picking up the parallel. I can show you. So that we can take a break and then we'll after coming back I'll launch the AQE. Okay, just it is loading. Yeah, let me talk this. So if you are considering, guys, like in terms of Apache Spark, okay, just we are having all the conventions like how do I make use of the solid understanding of the principles in a simplest way. Like if you consider, let me give you this example. This is the explanation given by our Apache. So how it is giving, see, Apache adaptive query execution is an optimization technique in Spark SQL that makes use of the runtime statistics to choose the most efficient query execution plan. Analyze data in a singular line. In a singular line, how is explaining optimization technique in Spark SQL that makes use of the runtime statistics to choose the most efficient query execution plan. Runtime statistics, Spark SQL, which is related to the AQE, which is enabled by default from the Spark 3.2.0. Just observe this guy. While taking the examination, maybe if you are taking 3.1 or something, adaptive query execution is not enabled. You have to explicitly enable that. But whereas if you are taking the version as 3.2.0, it is by default enabled. Okay, then Spark SQL can turn on and off AQE by spark.sql.adaptive.enabled as an umbrella configuration because this is reflecting in your runtime statistics. Okay, this is very good principle, guys, AQE, because while running the query, your Spark is collecting the statistics. Accordingly, it is pruning the unnecessary paths. Accordingly, it is generating the query execution plan. You observe that, guys. You observe that in what way this particular execution plan you are getting into the picture. Okay, maybe without knowing, without knowledge of the developer, internally Spark is performing many things and it is come up with a nice execution plan. Okay, that is what now this point also we have to add. Already we know that Spark is resilient, lineage, and by design it is fault tolerant, and by design it is optimized. Generally, no programming language, no construct. By design it is optimized. It is all the responsibility of the developer so as to turn that particular thing into the best possible way or optimized way. But here it's not like that, guys. Okay, so if you are making use of Spark and they are inventing many things, they are adopting many things with the help of the research. Always the Databricks guys, always keep on going ahead and performing some kind of the aspects. In the yesterday's session, I have shared one link, guys. Actually, from Apache Spark, you would have seen that optimizations. From the Databricks also, you would have seen some optimizations. Both are distinct. Okay, because in the Databricks perspective, those developers or those researchers used to come to us and explain. Okay, better you register for the conferences also, guys. In the Databricks, already I have shared with you the understanding of the certification. Those they generally conduct the webinars and they are very, very good guys, actually, believe me, because they are a typical researchers along with the development experience, so that you can, before releasing to the market, you can know, you can get all the updates. So you are quite ahead, especially the people who are having the data engineering, machine learning, and data analytics in the landscape of the Pyspark I'm talking. Okay, so of course, guys, entire things are now converged to this Pyspark actually. Okay, maybe Scala, very little it is doing. Scala is excellent, no doubt about that. Excellent programming language. The functional programming, object orientation is a typical implementation. But somehow people are devoted to PySpark only. And one thing, after PySpark, Java is the highest technology which is used in the Spark development, not even Scala. Okay, first highest is the PySpark, then is Scala, maybe 2% or something. 98 percentage we are using PySpark only in the context of the Spark. And that 1%, 1% and even in that 1% also Java is leading compared with the Scala. Because believe me, guys, if you are comfortable with Scala, then you are not interested to use either Java or Python. Because I used that Scala and I liked it actually, because there we are having the complete knowledge of the functional programming, object oriented programming. Object oriented programming means whoops, that's all. It is having that object, within that object only I need to define the class, like that. It is complete unit of the object. But conveniently in Java and all, we won't do those kind of objects. Within that objects, we won't place any class, something like that. Because you observe, the Scala is a typical object oriented programming, the best and pure object oriented programming, I can say. Apart from that, guys, we're having the functional programming, which is a mathematical orientation. Any number of higher order functions you can use. Okay, that is what how you can prefer the usage of the Scala. Okay, right. Now, just if you refer the adaptive query execution as an umbrella of activities, as of Spark 3.0, there are three major features in AQE. Three major features. One is the coalesce, which is nothing but post shuffle partitions. Coalescing, after shuffling, after post shuffling operations, just you can apply the coalesce. Coalesce already Okay, so coalesce is a property of reducing the number of partitions, whereas repartition is something either increase or decrease. But only the differentiation is coalesce never force the full shuffle. Of course, you can do increase of the partition with the coalesce with the full shuffle, but repartition insist on the full shuffling. And this is also important, guys. Conversion of the sort merge join to the broadcast join. Sort merge join to the broadcast join. Broadcast we know, pretty know. Broadcasting is a technique where it is optimization technique. Along with the accumulation, we have seen that, guys. That broadcasting, where if I'm having a small data and I want to broadcast. Broadcast, the name implies says that I want to send some message to all the machines or all the worker nodes. So just I can make use of that. So your sort merge join will be converted to the broadcast join. These are all the features of AQE, guys. And then skew join optimization. Skewness is something like if there is any abnormal or imbalanced kind of the data set, then you can go. And all these things are explained in detail along with this convention, how to convert and all. Okay, I strongly recommend to go through this. And however, I am assigning this thing to you guys. Okay, some of the aspects. Okay. Just this is Apache based. Now, let me move to the Databricks orientation. Now you can easily grasp. Actually, friends, in terms of the Apache, we are getting the configuration settings and all those things. Okay, it is not going beyond actually. So just we are getting this configuration and all these things. But you see here in adaptive query execution, speeding up Spark SQL at runtime. Okay, speeding up Spark SQL at runtime. Now, so just if you are seeing, this is a joint engineering effort between the Databricks, Apache Spark engineering team. Databricks and as well as Apache, two different entities, but they are commonly using the Spark kind of thing. So that is a development. Now, this notebook actually, which is explaining us um, how the implementation taking place. I'll post that. You can have a look on that. Now see guys, how these fellows are explaining. We have seen how the explanation goes on with the adaptive query execution in terms of the Apache. Just they have given AQE and they have suggested some three partitions are there. And how do I configure? But see here, how they explained is they are taking one example and they are talking about the null values, distinct bit programmatical aspect, guys. A bit programmatical aspect and what is the framework and clear definition or logic of this particular framework. And apart from that kind of the convention, they are explaining, okay, dynamically coalescing, switching join strategies and optimizing skew joins. All the three are same, but with the case study, okay, with the case study, they are explaining. So one point, guys, if you want to get the basic understanding, if you want to observe in the data engineering perspective, you can end up your searching with the Apache Spark. Whereas if you want to implement that, if you want to get in-depth coverage of that particular understanding, definitely you should go with these conventions, guys. See, with a neat explanation, typical researchers, these guys. Okay, dynamically switching join strategies. And then we are seeing the dynamically optic. See, I love to read these things, guys. Actually, the documentation is a novel kind of thing, I can say. Okay, the Atomic Habits book is there, and like that, we're having Hawkins book, the time travel. Okay, like that, we're having You Are Not Listening book. Okay, like many books are there now which grab our attention. So like that, if you read these content, such a nice explanation with all these possibilities. And even they practically prove that, okay, with the nice graph and all, so that your doubts will be clarified. Okay, and how do I enable all these kind of the convention? And now there is a blog actually here. Okay, as I said, AQE is there, na? Just you can make use of this entire things. Just you can run. Excellent this thing, guys. So this also I'm pasting. So definitely above and beyond topics already. Only the differentiation is, guys, just we need to focus on the configuration settings. Okay, all the other things are same. They are directly written by the researchers and developers of the Databricks. Okay, they are freely giving to us, which is a boon for us. Okay, so joins, however, we have seen just now, but how these particular joins can be leveraged to the level of AQE. This is nothing but a DAG explanation, directed acyclic graph, which is of course a major component in the Spark architecture. Now I was talking about that ORLE, na? So, and one more thing before landing to the ORLE, what I want to give you is you follow up these guys, friends. These are all gods for us. And this blog also I'm pasting, which is really helping us. Many things are there, friends, many updates and all. And even I'm worrying about whether this life is enough to study or grow. Okay, definitely not enough, guys. We have to utilize every minute. Then only we can end up our learning. Even I am not sure at that stage also. Okay. Now what we're doing here is, guys, just let me share the ORLA, which is of course very excellent repository. Uh, where I have opened. Let me wait a minute. Ah, ORLA. Ah, this is the repository where it is giving us all the possibilities of what is the latest happening and all these things. And these guys, all machine learning and all these things. Okay, PMP, chat GPT. Already there is a book also on NLP with the chat GPT kind of thing. Now, suppose if I am giving this Spark. Okay, it is suggesting actually the top two books, guys. These for the certification and as well as for the project. Of course, the basic book is the Definite Guide, Spark the Definite Guide by Meti Jaharia. Where this guy is a researcher and this guy, who is a leader in Spark design and development. Here all the contents actually, maybe the Spark introduction and as well as the API overview, and we are having some different yeah, Hadoop, how Spark runs on cluster. Okay, so just these kind of the conventions, all these aspects. Apart from that, if I am selecting, so this particular learning Spark, okay, that is also another book. This is also best book for the Spark. I am suggesting this thing also, guys, to you, where uh, you can practice, which is giving the entire narration, learning Spark. Okay, here just if you see the learning Spark, it is starting from the downloading and how to configure, and more or less they both talk same but with a different example, guys. Here they have covered machine learning MLlib also, because the members who are having the inclination of the MLlib, they can go and they can have a look on this. Nice explanation, supervised, unsupervised, all these things. I think these two books are uh, the fundamental and as well as must read books for data engineers and as well as the data scientist, guys. I strongly recommend these books. Okay, first book I have pasted. Now let me paste this second one, the Definite Guide. First, after completion of these two, you can go ahead, guys. Daily 10 to 20 pages. Okay, however you plan. So reading of the books and all. So just you can manage the convention. So all these advanced RDDs, all these kind of the conventions. So just you can have a look. So of course, directly I'm not suggesting to go and download, but purchase the books, guys. Okay, if you are purchasing, then you can put that book in your mind. Though you are downloading from the web freely, after 1 week, you don't know which book you have downloaded. Plenty of books we download generally, but we won't keep on touch with those books. But if you purchase means those books appear in our book rack, and some or other day, at least weekends, you can go and read the books. But if you want to, if you are expecting long standing in your career, just read these two books, guys. Believe me, 10 to 15 years, Databricks is going to rule the world. Rule the world, no doubt. Data engineering, machine learning, all these constructs. Have a look on these two books. Okay, just you go through and practice. So, and understanding of, especially in the machine learning, it is easy to implement the algorithms and all, guys. But whereas if it is Spark, understanding of the architecture, low level API, and then Hadoop architecture, these things are most important considerations. Okay, so with this, just we'll have a break, guys. And after coming from the break, just we'll discuss the other case study is there actually that I will